With Daneal Crag's nearly 15-year tenure as 007, the longest of any actor, drawing to an end, we are mentally preparing ourselves to say goodbye to arguably one of the best Bonds of all time. To pay tribute to Craig and the iconic character he plays, we thought we'd take a look at some behind-the-scenes facts from the upcoming movie, how it was brought to life, and how it promises to break both records and budgets. Let's take a look. It's no secret that No Time to Die has been hampered with problems and has essentially seemed cursed from the get-go. Daneal Crag famously said that he would rather slash his own wrists than do another Bond movie, but later admitted that he wasn't in the right mindset when asked if he would play Bond once again. Crag was still on the fence about reprising the character though, especially as Spectre had taken such a hard toll on his body, and he had shot a majority of the movie with a broken leg. As a man over 50, Crag didn't feel like he could throw himself all into another movie, and the way he saw it, if he couldn't do that, well, what was the point? But Barbara Broccoli told the actor that they had, quote, unfinished business, and that there were still story threads that needed tying up, and eventually convinced Craig to return, giving him more creative license. And admittedly, a bigger paycheck than ever before. But as Craig recently said, No Time to Die was harder than most because they were so up against it, and that was putting it lightly. Oscar-winning director Danny Boyle was brought on to direct the movie before he subsequently dropped out after citing creative differences with the studio and was replaced by Beasts of No Nation director and avid Bond fan, Cary Joji Fukunaga. Then the movie underwent several rewrites, seemingly having trouble finishing the script, and they found themselves bringing in writers like Phoebe Waller-Bridge halfway through production. In addition, just like his injury on Spectre, Craig badly damaged his ankle after slipping and falling down a walkway, causing the production to come to a halt. Then, once the movie was finally ready, the pandemic hit, causing the movie to reschedule its release date 3 times. But now, finally, the movie has found its release date, and it will involve all manner of car chases, motorcycle stunts, and gunplay as Bond travels all across the globe to places such as Norway, the UK, and his spiritual home of Jamaica, where the character of Bond was first conceived by Ian Fleming. But it is in Italy where the movie finds its explosive opening, in the small classic town of Matera, the same place where Wonder Woman's Themyscira scenes were shot, where Bond goes to a cemetery to visit a certain character's grave. The graveyard that Bond visits, which looks like it's been there for centuries, was actually designed and created for the movie itself, and they shot on location in a valley across from Matera. The scene then explodes into a massive action sequence as a dramatic car chase ensues, which required 8 stunt replicas of the Aston Martin DB5, which were modified modern recreations and were built from scratch by the Aston Special Ops team for this film specifically, although they are still considerably cheaper than the $2 million you'd have to pay for an original DB5. 2 of the vehicles housed a mine dispenser and machine guns, while another 2 could be controlled by stunt drivers sitting in a cage on the roof while the actors were inside as the cars sped along. One of the best moments in this sequence, which can be seen in the trailer, is the donut scene, where the car's inbuilt machine guns fire as it slides around a tight circle of villains. The scene was done for real without the use of VFX, and while for the most part the donut driving was done by a stunt driver, Craig did perform some of the donuts all by himself, with Fukunaga saying that Craig would be up in the morning before everyone else got to set practicing doing those donuts. However, one stunt that Craig couldn't perform was an incredible motorbike jump, which was instead performed by Paul Edmondson, a 4-time off-road endurance motorcycle champion, which had him riding off a 25-foot ramp at 60 miles per hour. However, the stunt team ran into a challenge when it came to the streets of Matera, due to the fact that they were very tight and not conducive for a car chase. But even worse was the grip, and anytime rain would fall on the cobblestone streets, the roads would be like ice, which made riding the bikes in particular very difficult. To combat this, the stunt team sprayed 8,400 gallons of Coca-Cola onto the streets and let it dry for 20 minutes before performing the stunts. The use of the soda actually made the grip 2 or 3 times better, although it also ended up costing them $70,000. Thankfully for the stunt department though, the movie had a budget of $250 million, so $70,000 on Coke isn't all that bad in total, especially when you consider what they used to spend on Coke.
We're getting sloppy.
The movie will also feature the new Land Rover Defender alongside other members of the Land Rover family, in an exciting action sequence that was set in Norway but actually filmed in Scotland. Stunt coordinator Lee Morrison said, "We pushed the Defender further than we believed possible to generate the maximum excitement and to give fans an insight into the uncompromising challenge of producing an incredible chase sequence, one which will involve helicopters, off-roading, and tons of explosions." Speaking of explosions, the first major explosion scene takes place in Russian scientist Valdo's laboratory and was created by linking butane canisters together and then setting them off with computerized detonators. However, the largest explosions to feature in the movie, which were done as a 3-in-1 shot, were filmed at the Ministry of Defense site on Salisbury Plain and were designed to replicate the impact of bunker buster bombs fired from a Royal Navy warship. The production used an absolutely massive 135.4 kilograms of explosives and are hoping that the explosion will be big enough to make it into the Guinness Book of World Records and beat the record they set with the 7.5-second explosion that ripped through Blofeld's lair in Spectre. Like the other Bond movies, Craig, despite his previous injuries and age, was set on doing his own stunts, and did just that. However, due to his ankle ligament injury, which he picked up early on in Jamaica, these stunts had to be pushed to the back end of the shoot, meaning Craig had to perform a string of difficult sequences in a row and had to undergo intense physical rehab in order to actually achieve them. To get back into Bond shape, Craig focused on getting his body ready by undergoing speed and agility training, mostly spending his time on the exercise bike. A regular day for Craig while filming the movie looked like this. Get up at 5:30 a.m., perform his exercise routine at 7 a.m., eat an energy-filled anti-inflammatory breakfast at 8, film from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., taking time for lunch, snack breaks, and body recovery work, have a carb-heavy dinner at 7:45 p.m., and then do some last-minute work on the script before calling it a day at 10:30 p.m. Or, something like that. Craig wasn't the only one to undergo some strenuous training, though, with new agents Lashana Lynch and Ana de Armas undergoing military and stunt training in order to prepare for their action-heavy roles. When it comes to the character of Bond, though, it was Craig that was the real driving force behind his role in the movie. Craig suggested both dialogue and plot lines and was the one to suggest Waller-Bridge to come in on the script, and he constantly put his heart and soul in making his last outing as Bond as big as possible and to go out on a bang. Waller-Bridge was surprised by just how much of an emotional connection Craig had to the character, and soon realized it was Craig's world. As seen in the Being James Bond documentary on Apple TV, Craig's last scene was shot just before midnight on a rainy October evening at Pinewood Studios, which was made to look like the streets of Havana. The scene was supposed to have been shot months earlier in the Caribbean, but had to be postponed due to the actor's injury. In a touching final speech given to the cast and crew, Craig said,
"I've loved every single second of these movies, and that has been one of the greatest honors of my life."
After the speeches had been made, which left Barbara Broccoli and Fukunaga emotional, the cast and crew apparently all went back to Craig's trailer, where they drank Negronis and Campari and tonic. I mean, it really should have been vodka martinis, shaken not stirred, but, it's a sweet moment, I'll give them that.
Do I look like I give a damn?
Barbara Broccoli has said that there has been no work started on Bond 26 or finding an actor to replace Craig with. Whenever they do cast a replacement, they will have some massive shoes to fill. Craig has proven his doubters wrong and has gone down as one of the best Bonds of all time. Thanks for the memories, Daniel. They've been a blast.